Good afternoon. I'm Devendra Tiwari, Assistant Professor EX Department. Today I'm presenting you YouTube video lecture on the topic two-port parameter in network analysis. So I'm going through the slide. I'm sharing my slides. So I'm available to you soon, very soon. First of all, we should understand what is the concept behind two-port network. So two-port parameters we want to study. Going to first slide. Two-port network. So it is very easy to analyze an electrical network if it is represented by an equivalent model, which gives the relation between input and output variables. For this, we can use two-port network representations. As the name suggests, two-port network contains two ports, among which one port is used as input port and other is used as output port. The first and second ports are called as port 1 and port 2 respectively. Go to next slide. So as you see here, two-port network is a pair of two-terminal electrical network in which current enters through one terminal and leaves through another terminal or other port. Two-port network representation, this is shown in this figure. This is port 1, this is port 2, and this is V1, V2, I1, and I2, current and voltage relations. Next slide. In the previous circuit, one pair of terminal is given as 1 dash and in one port, and in the other is given as 2 dash represents second port. So there are four variables V1, V2, I1, I2 in a two-port network as shown in the previous figure, out of which we can choose two variables as independent and another two variables as dependent. So we will get six possible pairs of equations. These equations represent the dependent variables in terms of independent variables. The coefficient of independent variables are called as parameters. So each pair of equation will give a set of four parameters. Now moving to next slide. So two-port parameters network. The parameters of two-port network are called as two-port network parameters. So there are possible types of two-port parameters will be Z parameter, Y parameters, T parameter. T means transmission line parameter, H means hybrid, and G means G parameters. So these five parameters are given to us. Or also there is one more parameter, inverse hybrid parameters. So we will go for first Z, Y, and transmission line parameters. On to next slide. First of all, Z parameter. So as told earlier, we will get equations pertaining V1 and V2. So there will be two equations by considering the variables V1, V2 as dependent and I1, I2 as independent variables, and their coefficients, the coefficients of independent variables I1 and I2, these are the coefficients, are known as Z parameters. So equation is V1 equals to Z11 I1, Z12 I2, V2 equals to Z21 I1 and Z22 I2. So we can see in this equation, these are also known as open circuit parameters, open circuit parameter or impedance parameter, side parameter. So because these are find out by killing current of any port network one by one. If we open current I2, yeah, we can say if we keep port 2 open, then I2 will be 0. Then we will get the coefficients Z11 and Z21. And in other case, when we open the port 1, then I1 will be 0. Then we will get Z12 and Z22. So Z parameter are given here. Z11 equals to V1 over I1. I2 equals to 0. Z12 equals to V1 over I2 when I1 equals to 0, and Z21 equals to V2 over I1 when I2 equals to 0, and Z22 equals to V2 over I2 when I1 equals to 0. Z parameter also called impedance parameter because they are a ratio of simply voltage and current, and their unit is given in ohm. So in this way, we can find out two Z parameters in a single channel. That means by opening one port, suppose Z11 and Z21, these are open. We get these parameters by opening port 2, and Z1 to Z22, these parameters are obtained by opening the port 1. Now moving to next slide. Y parameters. So Y parameters are called because we know Y. What is Y? Y is admittance. It's the reciprocal of Z. So Y parameters are also called as admittance parameters because they are simply a ratio of current and voltage. Previously, Z is a ratio of V and I. We can calculate two Y parameters. This is the equation of Y parameters. As similar in Z parameter, equation was V1 equals to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. Here, equation will be, it is not kept here. We will understand by Z parameter. Equation will be I1 equals to Y11 V1 and plus Y12 V2, and I2 equals to Y21 V1 plus Y22 V2. So we have to here short circuit the two ports one by one. If we short circuit port number 2 first, then we will get Y11 and Y21, and if we kept the port 1 short in the next chance, then we will get the Y12 and Y22. So we can calculate two parameters Y11 and Y21 by short circuit of port 2. Similarly, Y parameters Y12 and Y22 by doing short circuit of port 1. Y parameter also known as short circuit admittance parameter. So this is given here. Y11 equals to I1 over V1 when V2 0, Y12 equals to I1 over V2, V1 0, and Y21 equals to I2 V1 when V2 0, and Y22 equals to I2 V2 when V1 equals to 0. If we minutely see this equation, Y11, Y is ratio of I over V. So 1 means one coming in first and this one is in second. So one will be in numerator and other one will be in denominator. Like we can see here, y12 means y equals to I upon V. So this will be I1 over I2. Similarly here, I2 over I. Okay, next slide. T parameter. These are the transmission line parameters. So we will get these the two equations by considering the variables V1 and I1 as dependent and V2 and I2 as independent, and their coefficient V2 and minus I2 are called as T parameters or ABCD parameters. So equations will be V1 equals to AB2 minus BI2 and I1 equals to CB2 minus DI2. So these transmission line parameters can be find out. First we have to, if we keep this I2 0, then we will get V1 over V2 and I1 over V2. That means A and C. And if we kept V2 0, then we will get V1 over I2 minus V1 over I2 equals to B and minus I1 upon I2 equals to D, which is given here simply. So these transmitter parameters are also known as ABCD parameters. The parameters A and D do not have any units since those are dimensionless. Unit of parameters B and C are ohm and mho, that means ohm inverse respectively. So we can calculate two parameters A and C by doing open circuit of port 2. Similarly, we can calculate the other two parameters B and D by doing short circuit of port 2. So in this way, we can find out two port parameters, Z parameters, Y parameters, and ABCD or T parameters, impedance parameter, admittance parameter, or transmission line parameters by just opening or shorting the input and output port as per the equations or condition. Thank you very much.